Here we have boats that brought in corals of opportunity. They're corals that were rolling around on the ground or not attached to the substrate. So as you can see, there are corals of opportunity in the baskets. We'll take 2 small pieces that we will then be bringing back with us to the lab to do a stress test on. So we do stress testing to determine the level of resilience of the corals. And we're trying to find ones that don't readily bleach, and those are the ones we want to selectively outplant. They're going to pull them up and bring them to someone that will use a chisel and hammer to remove all of the non-coral parts that we don't need. As you can see on the bottom here, this part we don't need, so we will remove that. And then once that happens, they will be fragmented. We'll take 2 small pieces, and then those will, the whole colony itself will then be tagged with a number, and the number will stay with those fragments so we know which colony they came from and track that data. And then we take a photo of the whole colony so that we know which colony we're referring to in the future and also the condition of it. And then we also do species ID. We're only collecting 4 specific species with this project. And then also a COA card, which tells us the coloration of the coral. So that color might change over time, and we want to make sure that we're watching. If it's getting stressed, it might pale or bleach, and we want to see what it was originally when we collected it. So from there, we return the tagged colony back into the bins over here, an empty bin that will then be taken back out by the boat, back out to the nursery table offshore on the reef. And then the fragments will be what we're actually processing in the second table. And there is a diamond blade bandsaw that we use to cut off and flatten the end of the fragment so that it can easily rest on the top of an aragonite plug. So someone labels the plug with the tag number, and then the cut fragment will then come onto the fragment using a small dollop of glue. And you add the fragment to the glue, hold it in the water for about 30 seconds, and it'll set. And then we put those on the rack and eventually move them to the coolers to be able to bring back to the lab so that we can test them. These are for the first few months of events. We'll be doing the same exact thing, but in November we'll be at our lab doing a stress test to be able to actually see which ones bleach and which ones don't. In December then we'll only go back to the resilient colonies, and then we'll completely fragment them, because when you fragment colonies and they're in the small size, they know they're small, and then they will grow faster. They have faster growth rates than if you keep them in the whole colony size. And then we can also cover more area for those corals to be able to grow and reproduce over time, then benefiting the eventual future reef. So this is what we do in our own lab, and now we're just trying to incorporate community members so that we can scale up.